So, let's see. So, one of the main points I want to make is how do you create this asset of social enterprise? And you know, if you look at social enterprise, a lot of it is nonprofit, and there's a lot of core competencies and assets that are locked up in those nonprofits where they can't leverage off of increasing valuation. They have to reinvent themselves every year from money that they raise as grants. And so how do you create the structure of a for-profit social enterprise that can leverage off of increasing valuation for its growth while having the right type of control and governance to ensure fidelity to social mission? And so this is very challenging because, at least in my realm of medical devices, they're all high margin items, and so people in the company or investors, there's always the temptation in any company to want to make as much money as you can and get out at the right moment. That's kind of what investing is all about. So how do you create social investing where the capital is more patient and not looking for a big return, but a reasonable return, and where all the interests are in alignment and where social impact is considered important. So it's really like, how do you use financing to create this whole realm of social enterprise? Going back to my earlier statement, how do you create the middle way of a company? It's not just dependent upon donations on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's not just about maximizing return on investment. It's about maximizing distribution, whether it's a product, a service, while being profitable. How does Oralab generate enough profit to support its growth and development where it's still charging affordable prices? So this is the challenge. How do you create that control and governance to ensure fidelity to social mission? And a lot of it is really the type of investors that you bring on board and what their willingness is to engage in this experiment of creating a different development paradigm. Because that's what it is. It's about development and serving humanity and the earth. I wanted to mention a solar fund that I helped develop. Again, through Ashoka, we developed a Solar for All initiative of over 100 different companies and other groups in financing, technology, distribution. And one of the outgrowths of that initiative has been the development of a solar fund, which just launched, where Bamboo Finance in Switzerland is the fund manager, and we're working with them to create a $100 million fund that will invest in companies all along the solar supply chain to make solar energy affordable to low-income people. So that's another example of a fund. And these are the different partners. The role of Ashoka is to help raise money for the fund and also develop a technical assistance fund. Okay. And okay, so these are my two concluding slides. If you think about humanizing capitalism, it's really about compassion. Profit is good, but it's how you use the profit that makes a difference. So all these enterprises I talked about, they all have to be profitable, but how do they use profit, spread risk, and spread reward in a way that's going to achieve that outcome of helping people see, helping people hear, help them prevent them from dying an early death. So how do you use profit as a tool of development? How do you use profit and production capacity? How do you maximize distribution while being profitable rather than just maximizing return on investment? How do you change the competitive landscape using pricing as your weapon to be in favor of the consumer, who are basically the 4 billion making, whatever it is, less than $2 a day? So it's profit as a means to an end and not the end in itself, which is how most of us are trained to think. And finally, I wanted to talk about you. It's all of you. You know, I don't have any special background. I'm not a doctor. I don't have an MBA. I'm not an engineer. I'm not an epidemiologist. But I work in all these arenas where my desire, my impetus is really to help people, to look at the world and to try and understand the way money flows and how to redistribute some of that flow and support ways that really help people. A lot of what I do is the nature of a startup. Startups are always, there's always the potential for failure. I fear failure just like all of you do, but I've learned to live with that fear. So how do you act in spite of the fear? That's what I do. It's like every day I wake up and I have some fear that something isn't going to work out, and very often it doesn't work out, and the fear is borne out. So it's just a matter of learning how to live with that fear and being detached, sufficiently detached in order to do good work and keep on going, especially when difficulties arise. And also to keep in mind that everything is impermanent, especially us, you. We're not going to, we don't live forever. And when I think about that, I think, okay, theoretically there's unlimited money, but there's limited time. How am I going to use my time to be helpful to others? So think about that. Think about how you can use, for me, I think about how can I use what limited time I have, and you never know when it's going to end. And for me, it's about bringing about economic justice. And finally, have perseverance. It's like everything takes much longer than you think it will. And you have to be persistent. And if you think about the difference between entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs, if they see failure coming up, they'll quickly jump to the next thing and start entrepreneuring away. Social entrepreneurs, we're kind of stupid. We just sort of stick with something through a lot of failure until we finally get it right. So perseverance is very important. Thank you very much.